Okay, so let's talk about it today. Today is a unique day. And I think you might enjoy this episode a lot. Hey, and welcome to another episode where we talk everything fitness business. My name is Joe Levia and I'm your host. And there's a question I've been getting, and I've been getting so often that I decided to actually make it as part of this episode. Many fitness professionals and even nutrition coaches and wellness coaches struggle with this thing, how to create a program that could get results for any client. Program designing could be hard, and I'm talking from my personal experience. Many personal trainers, they're struggling with creating effective workout program, weight loss program, weight gain program, rehabilitation program. Nutritionists, the same, struggle with helping prospects and clients lose the weight, get over the heartburns, the sleep apnea, and the list goes on. So the question still remains is how to create a program that will get the results that you desire, what the client desire in a record breaking time. And I'd like to talk to you about that today. Remember this before I really dive into the meat. I am no different from you. In many ways, we are the same. I'm a personal trainer, nutritionist, and wellness coach based in New York City, business owner, and I enjoy what I do. Sharing tips with fellow colleagues like yourself is one of my passion as well. And when it comes to designing programs for clients that get the results, I struggle with that in the past as well. And I can tell you this from my observation for over 20 plus years now, there's no one set standard or one set resource that you could get this information from. For some, like myself, who might crack the code and understand it through trial and error over the years, may design a program teaching others how to do the same. And this is something we should talk about. And I'll just share with you my process in how I go about designing a program. And it's kind of simple how I go about it. I look at first and foremost, this is the first question I want to know is, what's your problem? Yeah, tell me, what's your problem? And hopefully the prospect tell me the true problem. Because most of the times they're not open up enough to tell you the true issue. You know, like Slim Shady back in the early days made a true problem. Please stand up. Please stand up. You see, they don't really tell you, and most of the time with our cockiness, we just prescribe, and then the client get frustrated. They're not seeing the results in the time that they thought, and they don't renew. They leave. They bailed on you. Programming is really key, and certain things I first want to know is the problem. So I really try to probe, but not too pushy. Because again, if they want to tell you, they will tell you. So you have to make that environment more welcoming, more relaxed, like they're talking to a friend, so they can open up to you. When you get to find out the real problem, you are now miles ahead from the rest of your fellow colleagues, personal trainers and nutritionists and wellness coach. Now you know the real problem. I want to know, what's the deadline like? Do they have a deadline in mind? For some, or I should say for few, they don't have a deadline. But for many, they do have a deadline. They want it as fast as possible, quick as possible. If you could just wave a wand and give them that results, they want that. Know the deadline. And with experience and time, you'll realize if that deadline is something that is attainable or not. And if you do know that information, you could now suggest to the prospect a different deadline or a different approach. Or you could say, okay, with this deadline, let's change the goal a little to a much more attainable goal. So in return, they wouldn't get disappointed. You will still able to give them the results they desire. The third thing you should look into is find out if there's any underlying issues. Those underlying issues could be visible or invisible because now we using online a lot. You want to know, do they have bad back? You have issues with the knees? Do you have headaches? Do you sleep well at night? Your digestive system, how does that work? Do you have issues eating certain foods? Understanding the underlying issues give you now a broader scope before you even dive in to creating a program. So now you know what's the problem, the true problem, what deadline they're looking to shoot for to get this. And now you understand what are some of the underlying issues they may have: diabetes, high blood pressure, you name it, the list along. No, you know this. Here's something we don't address at all is what's the resting metabolic rate? This is something you need to know. The RMR. How much calories, in a nutshell, your client body burns at rest? There's formulas out there that you could use that calculate the height with the weight, but that is not accurate at all. However, if that's all you have, that could be I should say, a good point of reference to start from. Yeah? But if you have, there's many devices out there that you could use to kind of get a much better reading of the resting metabolic rate. Again, there's the only how you could really find out much about the resting metabolic rate, you need to dump someone in a pool and they sit there for a while and breathe through an apparatus and it reads how much calories the body burn at rest on an empty stomach. So you may not have that at your disposal. However, there is clamps. I shouldn't say clamps. There's these devices like scales, smart scales that you could stand on, and it send a like electric wave through your body, and it comes back with a form of calculation, and you could use that as a reference point. What's the resting metabolic rate? So now you know how much calories average the body need to survive per day at rest. Now we have a better understanding. We understand now a little now how do that internal furnace work for them, because everybody's a little uniquely different. And that's how I go about approaching it. I also want to find out about the nutrition intake. How do they eat? Not judging them if it's bad or good. That's not my job to do. However, what I look for is the eating pattern, what type of foods, either high carbohydrates, processed sugars. I look to see those kind of numbers, calories intake and average. So I look at those numbers, not really telling my client or prospect about it, but That is all the raw materials before I go about creating a program for them. And this is something you could look into as well. That's a good thing. So you have the information about the nutrition, about the diet problem, the deadline, some of the underlying issues. The next thing you should look into is, for me, it's what are the limits? Yes, you could find out about some of the underlying issues, but you may not know their limits. And that's the physical and mental limits. I know. If you understand and you did anything in wellness or nutrition, you know how to measure that. Either through assessment, most likely, to find out their physical limits, but there's also assessment to find out their mental limits as well, to see the fortitude, the toughness, the mental toughness and strength up here as well. When you find out all this stuff now, that's it. Take all these raw materials with the knowledge of nutrition or fitness or wellness and design a program around them. You understand how much calories the body burns at rest. You know how much calories you need to burn to see 1 pound. So you understand that you understand what type of food they're eating, the habit style. You understand all these stuff. So now you understand the mental toughness. You understand the physical limits. You understand these stuff. So you're saying, okay, this is a beginner, might be a beginner or advanced, but let's say a beginner. You will not put them on a gradual steps of getting stronger, better, faster in the future. But the beginner, you start out basic, nothing to overwhelm their body or put it into shock because you will lose them. And that's my experience. So my goal is not to get them extremely sore, not at all. To show them I can make you sweat. No, no, no. Not at all. My goal is to show them the possibilities. I want to show them how easy it could be. That's the whole thing. Because if they could see the possibility in their mind, the ease of it, they could envision themselves continue doing it. And that's what I do. And when I create that program, I continue tweaking it as I see for myself, okay, I thought this was a way, but I see no, it don't work. I tweak that. Or you might say, okay, I see they're getting stronger, so let me now change or increase the sets or increase the weights or create the intensity in some form or fashion. You could even um, modify the workout to make it much more challenging. So that's my approach to design a exercise program, and something very similar when it comes to my nutrition approach and wellness approach as well. Well, I could continue talking about this because I enjoy it. I really do. I think I'm really good at designing programs for people, not putting my own stripes, but yeah. Hey, if you have any questions regarding creating a nutrition, wellness, or even a fitness program for your prospects, your clients, you have some question that I didn't address on this episode, feel free, reach out to me. I'll leave my contact in the show notes and you can reach out. I am just like you, so don't be, you know, shy at all. I'm just like you in many, many ways. So reach out to me. I'll personally answer you. As always, peace and success in your business.